Yeah, let me quickly explain. I think it's a good starting point, maybe the regulation in 2007 in Spain, as you know. The regulator published the requirements concerning the meters and also concerning smart metering with a smart pilot. And also we were quite lucky because at the same time, as you know, we also had the acquisition process by Enel, which is now our largest shareholder with 92%, and with a very strong experience in smart metering. So leveraging on these two experiences, we were able really to, I think, make quite some good progress since then. And if I think about the presentation last year, I think now basically the numbers have more than triplicated, as you'll see, since then. So we are really going well, even though I will also tell you the downside. It's not always easy, so I will a little bit speak about the different things, also mainly about the complexity of the rollout. So what have we done so far? There was a development phase at the beginning. Obviously, that ended with different outcomes. One with a technology that has been opened, meters and more technology. Then in 2010, we did first pilot, also following a little bit what Philip just said. That was a pilot for 100,000 customers. This pilot was not only related to technology, to confirm the correct functioning of the technology. It was actually more related to checking the internal business adjustments, the new processes, the relationship, the new relationship with the field installers, with the customers, and so on. So that was basically already a rollout in a small scale, let's say 100,000 for us, but it gave a lot of experience. And in the meanwhile, obviously, we did all the preparation work for the mass rollout. In parallel, there was the tendering processes were started and so on. So that then in 2011, that was last year, actually we ended with quite a good number because we just surpassed 1 million meters by the end of the year, which was for us obviously quite a strong effort, but very successful, and very happy about this. And also we added, maybe I can tell this, it's not only the rollout of the meters, obviously, it's also the whole system. You need obviously to integrate with your existing commercial systems that are legacy systems, very old, in place for many years. And so we did this integration work, and already in 2010 we had the system fully integrated end to end. In 2011 we still added some additional functionality, so that was another important thing. And also, as I will tell later, this IT development is obviously a continuous process, because every time new things come up, new ideas, new functionalities that can be added on the software. So let me quickly go on the next slide. I don't know where to point to. Sorry, could you please change the slide? Okay, thank you. So concerning the system architecture, I think you're quite familiar with the technology we've chosen. No, there was meters and more, open, and anybody can join, so it's an open technology, right now in the process also of being standardized. This is concerning the PLC side, and also concerning the wide area communication side until the concentrator. We also use the same technology, by the way, to communicate between the handheld devices of our field people with the workforce management systems, so that they can also do the maintenance work, and during the installation process, the first programming of the meter can also be done via the handheld interface, also using the same protocol. So this is so far concerning the technology. We are quite happy with the technology, as it's proven to be quite robust and works fine. And then obviously you have all the other part, that is other systems, the IT systems. So there, basically, the biggest challenge is to make it as simple as possible, so that it scales well to large volumes, to mass numbers, and on the same time provides sufficient security, provides stable reliability, and allows really to fulfill all the needs you have on the business side. So for that reason, we did the integration now with the legacy systems, as I mentioned before. As a DSO, in an unbundled system, we have our commercial system from the DSO side that receives the orders from the retailers, reading orders or any customer order of a contract change, new customer termination, a cut-off, unpaid customer contract terminations, supplier switching, all those commands come already, and this is nothing new for smart metering, this was already before, they come from the retailers through the interfaces, as you can see there on point 1, to our commercial systems. And so from there then downwards is where the new part starts. We have a field working workforce management system in place. That was also something we already had before the rollout, but then improved also for the mass rollout and extended this field, this workforce management system also, so that it integrates fully with the smart metering system. So you also see here the smart metering system, and so basically the system works in 3 different modes. And this is also part of the complexity. You have to attend during the rollout 3 systems at the same time. You have meters that are already fully remotely readable because they have a concentrator installed. So you have the full chain from the system to the concentrator, from the concentrator to the meter, and the way back, all the way back. And then you have meters, because I will explain later. At some point we took the decision obviously of not installing any dumb meter anymore, any traditional meter, and also actually using any visit to the customer for any type of operation to already replace the meter, apart from the actual rollout campaign. And that's obviously for improvement, in general of the investment, not to have stranded investment there. So, and this is then another type of operation that we have, meters in the field that are smart meters, but they still don't have the corresponding concentrator installed. They will become fully smart, let's say, with the remote functionality, but there's in between a certain time frame where they are just sitting there in the field waiting for the corresponding concentrator. And then obviously we have the third type of operation, which is the traditional operation. So how does this all integrate? When we get the orders from the retailers on the system side in a fully automated manner, there is a decision process in the system. We have obviously an inventory. I think that was also something that was mentioned before. It's very important to have your assets controlled. So we have all the meters obviously very much controlled, and we know exactly what smart meters have been installed at what customers. So the system automatically decides if it's a smart meter that is connected by a concentrator, it goes to the smart metering system, all the chain down to the meter and comes back. So this is the regular operation, fully automated with no human interaction. In the second case that we have a meter where we still don't have a concentrator installed, in that case it goes to the handheld unit of the corresponding field person, and that the person then, the field personnel then goes physically there and can do all the operations with this extended handheld unit via the optical probe connecting to the meter using the same protocol, and also the same, that's important, the same security concerning encryption, authentication, and so on. And then there's obviously the third operation in the case, the traditional operation also with the field. So that was for us a very important decision to have a very similar approach. In any case, we get the same information back to the retailers. Obviously, the difference is the speed in replying, and obviously the first option is much faster. So right now, where are we? Right now we have over 2.4 million meters installed. The exact number from Friday was 2,468,967. So, and that's an installation speed roughly. It's a little bit varying, but it's between 158,000 to 220,000 a month, so up to 10,000 per day. So far with a very low incident rate, less than 0.07% of incidents, so that's really good from our side. We're very happy from this as a user. Then also in parallel, also we have obviously the installation of the concentrators. There's also had different speeds. The highest, the peak installation was 2,800 concentrators per month, which we did at the end of last year. So this is concerning the installation. Also the installation is being done in parallel, fully mass rollout in 114 rollout areas. I think in the presentation last year, I explained how we manage all the logistics and of those rollout areas. So that's concerning the current status of installation. Concerning operation, as I said before, out of those meters that we install any type of, for any type of customer request, we install a new meter. So we have spread out meters. We still have another group where we still don't have a corresponding concentrator, but we already, by today, we have over 1.4 million meters fully operational end-to-end from the system. So, and I think these are very good numbers. Concerning the success rate, obviously you have to consider that we at the same time are rolling out. So it's obviously you have continuous movements in your grid still. But even though we are very happy with the success rate already for reading, for example, it's over 97%. For operations in general, the average is over 92%. Some of the operations are also higher. And most of the operations are performed in a few hours. Few hours, I'm saying, end-to-end. That means from the retailer system all the way through all this IT landscape, back and forth to the retailer. So that's the whole chain. Obviously, if you just look at, for example, the PLC communication, it goes much faster. It's not here the bottleneck is not on the. That's also important maybe to explain. It's not on the power line communication, on the GPRS communication. It's on the massive data management on the IT systems and the many interfaces that are in between. So concerning the so far concerning operation internally, we are very happy. We can also find that our customers are quite happy because we have here some numbers also for you concerning the customer claims that we are monitoring. So we have less than 0.2% of customer claims. So and many of the claims actually are related maybe just to annoyance of the customer, that somebody comes to the house and changes the meter, or just for any reason feels that the customer does not understand why a smart meter is really needed, for example. Things that are not directly related to the rollout. So those are numbers we are very happy with. And basically, how did we achieve this? I think the biggest or the key element there was a very strong communication and dissemination plan to the final customer. So the customer obviously gets a letter before the installation with additional information. The customer then, we have a customer care center with information on the web. In certain areas, we do specific campaigns on the radio to make the customer aware. Unfortunately, we did not get any help from the regulator. No, that would have been very helpful. But doing it by our own, also at the end, it worked quite well. In parallel, we did also a strong training of our internal personnel, so that they also work on the one side. They know how to do the job, but also included people that are not directly related with the smart metering project, so that they also know what it is all about and can also serve as ambassadors to explain to their families, to their neighbors, and so on. We had many meetings with customer associations, the universities, local administrations, and so on. So those were key elements to a successful rollout to minimize any types of problem. So this different specific sessions. And then also we have a different, another program that we called Endesa Educa. It's a program where we actually go to high schools, also include in the high schools information about smart metering, also about smart grids, by the way, and explain them what is this all about, why is this going on, so that actually the kids then later serve also as ambassadors to explain their parents, and when the meter arrives, so they already know what is going on and can explain it. So all those things, I think, helped quite a lot. We installed also, by the way, in all the main offices of Endesa, a type of showroom at the entrance, where we have guided visits to explain the visits, what is smart metering, what are we doing, and what are the benefits. So concerning obviously it's not, I think somebody said today, this is not a revolution, it's also a revolution, but it's also an evolution, no? It's a continuous process, no? I think it's very important for those that you have, of you that haven't started so far, to select a good and robust base technology on which at the end you build, no? So you have obviously the meter needs to be a good meter, the communication technology, the concentrator, because if you go here on the graph from the left to the right on the bottom line, obviously on the meter you can do firmware updates and so on, but on the communication technology you stick basically to the telecommunication technology that you choose. So you have to select wisely, and then having this in place, then you can add a lot of functionalities later by software. This is then a software issue where you can add on the IT system, starting from there, but also, if needed, on the concentrators and the meters. So you can have a continuous process, and we also expect that this will not end, that this will be a continuous process. We always capture more and more benefits, more and more functionality, starting from the purely regulatory requirements on the left, adding then additional functionality from our side as a company, and then continue also with more value-added functionality for the customer, the other agents in the market, no, in the energy system. So what are we doing concerning now? I'm not speaking about the mass rollout. Now I'm speaking about specific areas where we are also trying to evolve, no? According to this graph that we had before, now towards the right. Where are we going to? So one thing that we did, we established various pilots where we actually try to get more information to the customer. I think similar pilots we've heard about also here in the conference, and something similar is what we are doing as well. We try with different types of focus. So one is a customer portal where the customer gets the 15-minute load curves on the web or on a mobile application. With the specific information about even the CO2 emissions that correspond to that consumption, and so you give some information about the actual consumption and the energy, the emissions that relate to this, in order to achieve some energy efficiency. Then another project within our smart city projects, we have a different focus. We also compare to other groups, to other members, to average consumption. There we also show the customer also more technical information to see how the customer reacts about reactive energy, which is something the customer usually does not understand. So it's also an experiment to see what the customer can do with this information, and obviously if the reactive energy is too high, what we also see in some cases, then it's also something that must be considered in the future to be built, no, to the customer. Also the information about the contracted power and the power peaks that of the demanded power for the customer. So this is information that goes directly to the customer. Endesa also participates at different projects, either directly or indirectly on that. Mainly with different types of focus. There's the Energy TIC project, the ESESH project. Those are European projects focusing on energy efficiency, more information to the customer. And some of those projects, for example, there's a comparison. The customer can see his consumption with respect to his neighbors without knowing who those neighbors are. But actually they are close by neighbors that live in a similar part of the city, in similar types of houses and in a similar environment. So that is, for example, interesting. Then another project also that I wanted to include here, where we are participating because it might be of interest also for you, is the Meter On project. You're probably aware of, but the Meter On project is a European funded project right now focusing on gathering information about the rollouts and give this as input to the European Commission for guidance as well, no? And for the member states. So here Endesa participates as one of the members of ETSO, and there are other utilities now participating as well. But I just want to show this also for you, and there's also some contact information might be interesting for you to look at. And also if you want to provide information, this will be, I think, very helpful also concerning the information that goes to the European Commission on this. What else is Endesa doing in this field based on the smart metering? We have several smart city projects going on. There's the Smart City Malaga project, I think that you're quite aware of. There's the Smart City Barcelona project. And we have then two island projects where it's not a smart city, it's a smart island, if you like. And then there's also in Latin America the Smart City Bucios project. There's also session, two colleagues of mine will speak about the smart city projects, but here just an important issue to mention also within this those smart city projects, where we try to combine all types of smart grids technologies. Obviously the smart metering is a basis as well, and we try to combine, and there in a kind of living lab field environment, try to get really all the benefits of smart metering, do this on a smaller scale in a controlled environment, and then consider if this is those functionalities need to be and are worthwhile, and the way of doing it, of implementing this in a mass manner. So just as that's basically it from my side, just summarizing very quickly. I think we are quite proud of those 2.4 million that we've already installed. Obviously, it's an ongoing process with a lot of complexity. Technology is just a small part of this. There are many other things. The project management is very complex. Many people need to be trained. By the way, also another point that we are proud of so far is we did a lot of training, not only concerning the technology, but also concerning safety and security for the field personnel. You have to imagine there are millions of operations at the end in the field, and it's very possible, obviously, that somebody makes a mistake and you get an accident. And that's obviously something you need to avoid. So we are very strict on this. We get very clear rules, procedures, and we do lots of controls in the field that our field contracted external partners do comply with all the safety rules. So far, it's concerning operation, we are very fine, very happy about its performing, in our opinion, amazingly well. And I also think we have a very good acceptance for the customers. It's a highly complex project, as I said before. Last year I spoke a little bit more about the logistics and all those processes, the actual rollout issues. You obviously have to have a very good and skilled project management team as well, because there are many things that you need to to take care of during the rollout, because also, as a speaker before said, if not, they come back to you during operation. So it's actually an important issue. And obviously also important value-added functionality and smart grids are possible. It's at least on the pilot scale, based on this mass rollout technology, it's working. So I think there we will see obviously also a lot of progress, not only from our side, but also from the industry. So that's all from my side, and thank you very much. I'm unfortunately not available for the Q&A session later due to another commitment. In case you have any questions, apart from now.
Well, yeah. Thank you, Robert. We certainly have time for one or two questions. We have a lady there running around with the microphone. Who? Yeah, there is a gentleman. Just introduce yourself quickly with name and organization, and then the question, please.
No, my name is Martin Esslinger from Devo Team Consulting. I'd be interested, you mentioned that you display 15-minute load profiles. Do you give your customers the opportunity to opt in or out of that for privacy reasons? And if yes, how many customers actually do it?
No, okay, there's two things. Concerning the mass rollout, right now, we are not using the 15-minute load profiles. We use this on specific pilot tests right now with the same technology. So we use an area where we already have the mass rollout done, but we use a specific field trial to check with the customers. In this specific environment, there's no problem concerning the privacy, because only customers that volunteer participate in the pilot. In this sense, there's no problem. But it is an issue, obviously. In Spain, we have many discussions. I think also the colleagues from the other DSOs can confirm. There's a lot of discussion also about this issue of the information that should be given to the customer, in what periodicity, what frequency, at what price. Obviously, like the higher the frequency, the higher the amount of volume, the higher also the cost at the end for the customer, and also all the privacy issues. Right now we have a fully secured solution on the technology side, but obviously the privacy issue is an issue to tackle, and that's I think who has to play an important role there is the regulator, to also establish the rules for all the market participants to see how and when this type of information can pass the frontier of the metering operator, which in Spain is also the distribution, the DSO.
Okay, then thank you very much, Robert, and good luck with the remaining some 10 million meters.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. At least